Brain Candy Podcast, episode 839. We are firing on all cylinders today.
Yeah, we're in good moods.
Well,
Probably
I missed you. I'm just glad to be with you.
Susie told me that she might be joining me on a road trip, which is the most exciting thing.
Yeah, because Sarah started all this.
I did.
She teased me, essentially,
I did.
and said she was coming to the Berg, and then, oops, oh, I forgot. I have to go to a wedding, and it's a whole thing.
I get so excited. I never cross-check my calendars.
I get it.
You know?
I do know, because I
get so excited.
Yeah.
I'm just like, yeah! And then I'm like, no. So we gotta have a make good, a do over.
Yeah, so she's not coming here. So I was like, hey, how about Suze is your plus one to this wedding?
I'm going to a wedding. I'm going on a road trip.
Yeah.
To the national parks. Do you remember when I went to the national parks when I announced that I was going to get divorced? When I told my then husband.
Yes, 3 weeks you were there.
Yeah. Well, this trip is going to be the backside of that trip that I never got to do, which is to all of the national parks in the northern Nevada, Colorado area.
We should bring an ex-husband voodoo doll.
Something just
commemorate.
Represent. I wish I cared that much. I don't. If there
was
something to let go of, I will say this. Okay, I'm just gonna say it on here because you guys know all my personal stuff, anyways. So when I was at camp, one of the other directors found every year we do these wish lanterns. Have you ever seen the wish lanterns where they use rice paper and you can write on the outside of them, and then they'll put it a tea light in the middle and send them out into a lake, and it looks all beautiful and lit up. So we do that every year at camp. And for some reason, one of the wooden wish lantern bases that we had, that we reuse every year, had the name of my ex on it. That went to camp and wasn't it was random. It was he went to camp and his name was on there. He labeled it. His full name. Somebody picked it up and they were like, oh, Sarah, should we burn this in the fire? And I was like, yeah, we should. And then my friend Katie happens to have one of those Elon Musk flamethrowers. And so I burnt
You didn't.
I torched it with I was scared to use the flamethrower at first. I was like, this is too much power. Can you just do it? And she's like, no, you're going to do it. Be brave.
This is what's so annoying about you.
And don't worry, she took video, so I have it.
Well, yeah, so why is that not in my feed as we speak?
I needed the story first, maybe.
Literally, this is what I was saying to you before we started recording. I was like, you do not get all the shit you do that's so funny, and you are not sharing it, and it makes me mad.
This is fair.
Audience of one at minimum.
Right. If I should just pretend what would make Susie laugh, which is really how I cater most of my content. I'm this is gonna kill either that, or I know that she's gonna be pissed off about this because it's powder content or something
thing.
Campy and
I feel
gets
things.
The people going.
That's what art is. It makes you feel something. Maybe it's rage. Maybe it's joy.
Yes,
it's something.
That is it. Get a response.
I would love that.
Okay, I'll show you.
Okay, yeah,
I was gonna reach out to that group because I'm like, we need a shared album. It's on somebody else's phone. I need this video.
Literally, that is the problem with every Challenge Mania event too, or anytime a challenger is involved.
Somebody's got to orchestrate it.
Because somebody gets all the great pictures and videos, and then they're like, I'll send them to you. And then they do not.
They do not, ever. Or they send you 4 that they've selected.
I want the ones where I look good.
All of them, yes. I'll be choosing. Thank you very much. Where's the one where
you look like shit and I look like garbage? I want that one.
Yes.
Jesus.
Come on. Duh.
Anywho.
Now I'm all worked up, out of breath.
I know. We're worked up over here.
What was I
Sarah told me
about?
that tonight is her first water polo match. Is that what they call them?
That's right.
Matches?
Well, not match. My first water polo practice.
Oh, practice.
And I was recently at a friend's birthday party, shout out to Jessie, with some of her friends who have played in adult sport leagues before. And she asked them all, she was like, I have never heard of an adult league that has practice. Most of them just show up and play the game. Like
raw
you just
dog.
play it. Yeah, I guess. And you just like, and then, so there was some polling done of, the group, like, hey, you played in the league.
Anecdotal
Did you ever practice?
polling.
Yeah. And then one of the guys said, well, what are you playing? And I said, water polo. And he goes, oh, well, that's different. That's crazy. Like, he's like, you guys need to practice.
Yeah.
Aren't you like treading water the whole time? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, and how deep is the pool? I'm like 12 feet. And he's like, oh, yeah. So that's
everybody
badass.
knows.
I didn't know it had the reputation that it does. I am glad, because I worked very hard to try to teach people of this and inform people of this all through my high school and college intramurals career. But to which I was there. I think it was the second year that my high school had a women's water polo team.
Wow.
To convince people that this was like a cool sport and like really badass was like, ugh, it was hard. People are like, that's dumb.
I saw the reactions every time Sarah strapped on that. What do they call those things you put on your head? Like
swim
the
cap?
hair. Yeah, swim cap. Every time Sarah strapped on a swim cap in the challenge house to do laps.
Oh my God.
The reaction it wasn't respectful. Okay.
Susie, I wish I had the, I wish I could go back in time, because I thought about that moment in the Ruins house where freaking Kenny was giving me shit. And he's like, who wears a swim cap? And I said, anybody who swims competitively. And I would have had a list of Olympians to name.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, say that to Katie Ledecky.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
You gonna talk to her about her
You
swim
got no
cap?
respect.
Or Michael Phelps? Come on.
Mm-hmm.
What the hell? So, now people are figuring it out.
People are starting to wake up
And
to water polo's cool factor.
Here's what I'm worried about, Suze.
Mm-hmm.
Is this a slippery slope?
Literally.
Slippery pool deck.
Pool deck.
Yeah. Slippery slide. To me becoming like Diane Nyad and just wanting to swim like 28 miles across some channel, because every day I'm there, I'm like,
I got this.
I'm already
no problem.
1 mile in. What's 2? I'll just do 2. Okay, let's just round it up. I keep doing that. And so like, it's only because of time that I got to get out and go places.
Right.
I'm like, but I could keep going just for forever.
Yeah. If you are good, which sounds like you are, then I do feel like it is a gateway drug to
It's a gateway
world
drug.
record attempts.
Just attempts that come so short, and here's the thing. I am not speedy. I am not like going, I'm not racing. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see. I haven't really tested my short distance times, but there's a guy who hopped in the pool next to me who got started going real fast. He was like, I can tell when somebody's timing up when they're leaving the wall to like, we're racing, but oh yeah. And he definitely had me beat in 25 yard sprint in the 50. Yep. But then I kept going, and he like looked over like, shit, are we still doing this? And he started leaving slower and slower. And then I lapped his ass in no time. I was like, you cannot catch me in the long distance. You can't, because I won't stop, and they will stop.
This always reminds me of Sarah's fun fact that humans can outrun horses
Yes.
if the race is long enough.
Yes. This is my favorite because when Susie and I are in public and people talk about our podcast, they're like, what kind of stuff do you talk about? And they're like, well, and Susie always like inevitably says, well, Sarah likes space related and animal related facts.
Yeah.
And they'll always be like what? And then Susie will answer with,
For example.
Did
you know?
And then people are always like, I don't believe that.
Yes,
and then
it is unbelievable.
Every single time we have to go through this. So,
but she is right, and that is the equivalent of what you demonstrated in the pool. That they might be better at the old sprint,
right?
Swim.
You will not beat me. And go. I got the tapes. Go run it back. Go look at the final where we jumped into the fjords in Norway. Look at everybody behind me.
Yeah, Sarah's excellent in a fjord.
Why do I feel the need to do this? To just like do I feel this? Is it the Olympics? Did the Olympics do this to me? I just watch excellence, and now I'm like, I gotta go prove I'm average, which is exactly what I am. I'm not even that great. I'm totally average. When I look at my masters, because I'm now joined the U.S. Masters swim program, because that's what you do when you sign up for these leagues. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna get a swim cap, yay. It's like the old people group, and they have all of the times, like the what do they call them? They call them it starts with an M. It's not like maybe milestone, something like that. That's basically like what you would like to hit. I can't remember the
like
name
a goal
of it right now. But like goal times. But it's like some word that I'm like, oh, that's adorable for us. And I am in at least I make the cut, but I'm in the slowest bracket.
Oh, really?
You know, the other ones are advanced, and the other ones are so fucking fast. I'm like, how are these people swimming
well,
that
I mean,
fast?
you're just gonna get
but
you're gonna get there.
When I compare myself to regular people who don't swim all the time, I'm so good. When I compare myself to swimmers, I am regular.
You know that device that we bought when we had a pool in LA that like you hold on to and it zooms you around the pool? It's so fun. Like when I use that, I'm as fast as Sarah. For real. I'm such a bad swimmer. I do not have that gift.
No, it is all technique. I
don't have it.
Right. But it's easy to learn. Like once you learn the few things, like I was trying to explain this to my friend and she's like, have you been watching YouTube videos? And I go, well, yes, but that's besides the point. She goes, this is what you like to do. I did that. She's like, well, I'm not gonna give you shit about it because you did it with snowboarding it and it seemed to work with that.
I forgot I have to do my job.
Oh, do your job. I am blabbing about stuff that nobody even cares about.
Well, I'll tell you what everybody cares about, and that's saving money, and that's what Rocket Money is going to help us all do.
Yes. Shout out to Rocket Money.
Shout out. I remember how on Instagram recently I posted like a list of money that I'd saved because of Rocket Money, like subscriptions canceled and like negotiated utilities and stuff. And one of the columns was fraud because I had realized that my account had been like compromised because of Rocket Money, and it was a lot of money that had been charged. And some brainiac wrote in, "That's a lot of fraud." That's all it said. And I was like, sure was.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, Rocket Money.
Thanks, Rocket Money.
That's a lot of fraud.
It sure was. Once those fools get a hold of your numbers, I mean, there's no telling what they'll do. But Rocket Money is a personal finance app that finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so that you can grow your savings. Like I said, they'll call up your freaking utilities and things like that and negotiate a lower bill for you. They did that for me with one of, I won't say which one, but one of the things that I use like in my car, like a luxury thingy, and like insurance. I can't say the brand. That's why, like, if I said the brand, you'd all know what I'm talking about. But it's a radio thing.
Yeah.
Anyway,
we all know what you're talking about.
Okay. I wasn't sure. Anyway, it was great. They have over 5 million users and saved a total of 500 million in canceled subscriptions, and members saved up to $740 a year when using all of the app's features. Stop wasting money on things you don't use. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions by going to rocketmoney.com/braincandy. That's rocketmoney.com/braincandy, rocketmoney.com/braincandy. I use it every day. I love it. I'm not just saying that.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Same.
Download it.
Same.
Okay, anyway, sorry.
Yeah, so boring stuff, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to be
No.
on swim team and it's going to be like...
It's going to be great.
And but also, here's the real, like, secondary gains.
Yeah.
What if I meet a cute lady water polo player?
Yeah. There's like 100% chance of that.
Right? Water polo players are my
if you're
type.
not following along, this is a queer
Yes.
water polo.
It just so
team.
happens that the only master swim program / water polo league, aquatic league in the Denver metro area is this one.
Uh-huh.
So
Alright.
it's like by default, but also choice.
Right. That's pretty much all the gays situation.
Right.
Default and
Yeah, right.
Okay, so like what would you do if you've met one?
I mean, we're playing the long. I'm gonna ask her to like.
That's what I'm wondering. Are you a first move kind of gal? Or do
I'm
you
a-
wait? You like to be courted.
Oh my God, I'm nervous thinking about it already. I would
jealous.
make the first move after I knew that it was like I had the green light.
That makes sense.
You know,
Yeah.
I like to get a lot of signals that make sure.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
not,
like if you say I love you, you're only going to really want to do that if you're
Right.
pretty sure.
Totally. It's
what
like
the
that.
answer is. Yeah.
So if it and I, you know, if we're just like always pairing up to toss around the old water polo ball practice.
Yeah.
I was like, there's no way that I'm going to say that. It doesn't sound like that Susie's not going to giggle at.
Right.
You know, taking
Yeah.
shots on goal. What do you want me to say? You know?
Well, I kept laughing at the description on the episode when you talked about this initially. And how you said you were going to find love in the deep end. It's so funny and also true.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right. Can't touch the bottom. So
What if do you think they're all like, do you think it's mostly single gals or do you think it's like the old timey lesbians who've like been married for 30 years?
it could go. It could go either way. It might be wifed up lesies and a bunch of single dudes.
Oh,
I think that may be it.
this is co-ed. I keep
Yeah,
forgetting.
it's co-ed. But that makes me nervous too. After watching the women's versus men's Olympics, those men, they can throw like, oh my God, I do not
So
want to
they
get in
are
the way.
not co-ed, right?
Not in the Olympics. No.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Okay. But you
Yeah.
watched both sets, and the men have they have greater upper body
Yeah,
ability,
they
so it's
throw
like
the ball so freaking hard.
okay.
You know?
Well,
Yeah, we'll see. The
are
only
they
time
often gay? The men
what?
in water polo, does it attract because of the speedos or something?
I mean, I don't think
Like, just say you're no at home. I know that that's ridiculous.
yeah, not any more than any like I think that the adult water polo league that practices 2 nights a week and has games on Sunday does attract
the gays.
yeah, I just do. And you know what? I
Okay.
found this to be true. There were a lot of gay guys on my other club water polo teams.
I can't wait to find out. This is it's going to be so fun for all of us.
Maybe I'm making assumptions, but
That's
where
what
I
we
would.
do
I
best.
mean, why do you think I play? I mean, bathing for both men and women. I'm like, yes, yes.
These are your
is
people.
How I get
Hey,
around.
Adam's going to be
people with
mad
no
at me if
clothes
I
on.
don't say. I think maybe your levels are like it goes
Crazy?
in the red sometimes, and you know how he gets about it.
But I did it so
Sometimes.
good.
Oh
Okay.
no, I think you're great.
I think I am great. I set this all up even before. I bet I'm just getting loud. He's going to say, just back up. I'm getting excited.
Sarah.
I'm getting excited. I see it. I
don't think it is. Maybe I'm wrong.
We'll see.
Okay.
Who knows?
Listen, Adam, if you're listening,
yeah,
we're just excited about queer water polo.
We are. And, this is a good segue because I do have actual articles and things that I can share with you and want to talk about today.
Yeah, do it.
And it feels like this is kind of a shorter little story, but I wanted to share it. It was an article in The Atlantic called The Demise of the Public Pool. And it was written by a Pittsburgh
I was
writer.
going to say, I keep hearing about it on NPR. It's a real problem.
This is a big thing in Pittsburgh because and she writes about it in this article, that Pittsburgh is one of the places where there has been an outcry from the public and a demand and need for pools, a desire for it, especially with rising temperatures.
Yeah.
And little to no work being done, and they're redirecting funds where they said to prioritize what are viewed as essential services for residents, such as roads and utility maintenance.
Yeah, so the public pool is being put on the back burner in favor of these other seemingly more important or prioritized goals, but it's a real bummer.
It is such a bummer, and it really caught my attention. I mean, not just because I have pools on my mind, but I was driving just the other day through like a regular, not even a neighborhood that's like super fancy schmancy. Like it was just like the kind of suburban neighborhood, average suburban neighborhood. And there were two pools that were totally in disarray and like
disrepair.
Like
really?
Not
were they open or
no, closed.
Yeah.
And it's the middle of summer. Like this is peak pool season. And it looks like pools it looks like they were open 2 years ago. Or maybe it's COVID, like post-COVID, they just didn't open them back up.
So like post-COVID, there were some like rumblings about like, oh, you know how everything was short-staffed for a while?
Yes.
And they were like, oh yeah, we just can't find the lifeguards. But like I think they were kind of fibbing about that.
I think so too.
And the truth is that it's expensive to repair and get things up to code and whatever. And it got put by the wayside. And I think it was that article that was saying like what you lose when you lose a public pool.
Yes.
And it is sad.
It's really sad. And the article also said that we're recognizing the importance of natural and wild places and spaces for our health and for our awareness of climate change and what we're doing to combat that. But urban spaces deserve the same respect.
Yeah.
But we've forgotten about urban spaces that are community
are an oasis,
spaces.
Literally.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And it is so important that the pool was like my babysitter growing up. That is what my mom dropped us off at the community pool in the morning and picked us up when it was closing at night.
That sounds real fun.
It was so much fun. And they had a jungle gym there, and they had popsicle stand there, and they had a little rec room that you could rent out for birthdays.
Yeah, super cute. And your friends are there.
Yeah.
And in Pittsburgh, at least, maybe nationwide, they're replacing them with like those sprinkle, what are they called? Like sprinkle pads or whatever, where, the water shoots up and you can cool off if it is real hot and you don't have a lot of, maybe you don't have AC.
Yeah. You think it's a lifeguard thing? Drowning issue?
Well, they're cheaper to maintain and you don't need lifeguards. But then what happens as a result is the people don't learn to swim. Little kids don't learn to swim.
Oh my God. I didn't even freaking think of that, Susie.
Yeah.
I didn't think of that. Of course. We have to have public pools because people have to know how to swim.
They have to know how to swim.
It is a very important skill.
I know.
And I love when I hear about people who give like free swim lessons to adults or even kids.
That's so nice.
Like my little brother did infant swim lessons where
Hey,
they
you
just
could do it.
toss them into the. I cannot.
Oh,
I
no,
can't
no.
handle that.
Not infants. I mean adults.
Oh, adults. Yeah, adults. It would be
adult
great.
thing.
Yeah. I gave swimming lessons to a lot of people in the challenge house.
I've seen this happen.
Yes.
And it's real nice, and she doesn't act like a jerk about it at all.
No, not at all, because I understand how scary it could be in the water. And I've seen, I know that panic and know how strong and powerful the water is. But yeah.
And after like you swim a long time, you might want to have a nice cold drink, and you should pour in some mixers.
Susie,
and then you'll be even happier.
I have it right here in my water bottle. I'm 2 a day. I have my mixers, menopause support in the morning, and I have it in the evening. And I kid you not, I have felt a serious reduction in symptoms. And I was going cuckoo crazy. And I know that it's that because when I went to camp, there was another woman who was also dealing with menopausal symptoms, and I gave her half of my stash. And so I went a couple days where I didn't have it, and I noticed a significant difference.
Wow.
So I've done the experiments. And not only that, it tastes so freaking good.
What's your favorite flavor? Do you have a favorite?
Well, I've only tried one flavor.
Oh, okay.
Because now I'm like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, right.
I don't know. I'm like, this is the one I like.
Yeah, don't
I
risk
think
it.
it's got to
That's
be like
funny.
it kind of tastes like a pomegranate or like a something like
fruity
that.
and
Yeah. Like red and fruit. It's delicious.
well, that's the thing. I was just complaining. As Sarah knows. By the way, Sarah, thank you for the incredible birthday presents that you sent to me. Because she
you're
knows
welcome.
I am on a skincare journey.
Yeah.
And she got me all these amazing gifts, which I'll talk about later. But I was complaining to my skin lady how women really have it hard. Hormones,
Don't even get me started.
you know, of course you have the serious stuff Sarah dealt with, but then on like the more everyday level, skin, you know, throughout the month, your skin is like, oh, now it's in this stage. Now it's like
Freaking balancing act.
Yeah. And so like these mixers are designed to help balance out. It's a supplement. It balances out all those hormonal pendulous nightmares
Yes, that's
that
the
we are
word.
on. Anyway, join the thousands of women who have discovered feel-good freedom through balanced hormones. Head to mixers.com/braincandy. Use promo code braincandy at checkout for an additional 10% off your order. Mix hers. Rarely gives discounts, so 10% off is the best offer you'll find. Remember to use our promo code braincandy for an additional 10% off.
Please try this if you are
Try
somebody
it.
dealing with PMS or menopausal symptoms.
menopause,
Please
hormone
just use
weirdness.
it and then message me because I'm here to solve problems. It's like my favorite thing to do. Okay, more about pools. In the article, there was a book that was referenced. I can't remember the name of it, but I from the gist of it, it's pretty much like the history of America through pools, which I think is fascinating, and I really want to read it. I
That'd
should
be
have written
cool.
down the name. But it talks about how pools, you can look at what's going on in society and it's like reflected in those public spaces, as we're seeing now with libraries.
We
and
saw
those-
that with race, AIDS.
Yep. Yes, that's exactly
Yeah.
what's listed. During I couldn't believe this. During the 1950s and 60s, private swim clubs exploded because there were now pools were no longer segregated. So
Wow.
the pools from the 1950s, private swim clubs from the 1950s to 1960s went from 1,200 to 23,000. What?
Wow.
Can you believe those numbers? And that is totally related to race.
Unbelievable. I mean,
Wild.
it really is.
And then
wild.
a bunch of them closed in the late 70s and early 80s, and that's AIDS, just like you were talking about. and then never reopened, and then COVID shut down.
It's so funny because even though
I gotta read this book. This is
race, AIDS, and COVID seemingly totally separate, but they are all built on like fear of contamination.
Oh my God.
You know?
Yes.
And like,
they said the rise of home pools was with COVID. That it became more isolated and we didn't want to be around other people. And now there's this association with public pools and dirty, even though that's totally not the case. If anybody's ever been to a public pool, they're like way cleaner than some of the, please, the grossest places are like the gyms. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say it because they're not our sponsor. Core Power Yoga. Your bathrooms are disgusting. I'm
Core
sorry.
Power Yoga. No shout out to you.
No shout out to you. Shout
away
down.
from you.
Yeah. What? Not like whatever the opposite of that is.
Shout in.
Shout in. I don't know.
Right. Core Power Yoga.
Blech.
Fuck you.
They changed everything. I don't like them anymore. And I got my yoga certification there, so.
Wow, things took a dark turn.
Yeah, and then if you like forget something, or one day I forgot my wallet there, there's no front desk. You have to call like the main number, and then you say, can you connect me to whatever studio? And they go, oh no, we can't do that. We can send an email to the manager. Just
come on.
Call. I know they have a phone. Call the phone. Why? Give me the number. Why can't you I was just there. I'm actually standing outside. I could those kind of things drive me fucking crazy. So
there's nothing funnier than when Sarah decides to rant about a business.
Yeah, I get worked up. Okay, that is a nice segue to the next story I have for you.
Okay.
Do you remember the woman, this was back in, oh my God, it feels like a million years ago, but I actually only think this was like last year. The woman who was from Ohio who threw a burrito, or technically it was a burrito
Sarah,
bowl.
this is on my notes to talk about.
Okay, well, are we going to just talk about? Yes.
I mean,
I have so many notes.
Me too.
Like,
I'm mad about it.
I am mad about it too. Okay, let's get into it.
Get a hold of it.
This is going to be we're just going to compare notes, and it'll be a long segment on this.
Yes.
So I imagine you read the article in New York Magazine. I think it was in New York
Grub
Magazine.
Street.
Grub Street.
But it was
yes.
that's a part of New York Magazine. Yeah.
I had to get it through the same subscription. That's how.
Yes, Grub Street.
Called The Empathy Punishment.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah.
You predicted this. We talked about this story. Okay, so just to get everybody up to speed. Last year in Ohio, there's a woman whose name is Rosemary Hayne. Hayne? I don't know, however you say that.
I think it was Hayes.
Hayes? Hay? I wrote down Hayne. Hayne. Well,
okay.
Hayes.
Maybe
it's
Hays.
Hays.
Maybe it's Hayne.
You're probably right.
No, you're probably right.
She's 39. Rosemary. We're just going to call her good old Rosie, Rosemary. She was at a Chipotle and was not happy with the speed in which they were moving and what was being put into her bowl.
You're right. It's Hayne.
And how everything was getting, how fat. She hated the whole experience. She was unhappy. She was disgruntled.
Yeah.
And she takes her bowl and goes around to the people next to her. Would you eat this? Would you eat this? Would you eat this? And then proceeds to throw it at poor little 17-year-old Chipotle worker, Rebecca. I can't remember her name. Rachel, something like that. Rachel or Rebecca or something like that. It starts with an R. But she's just like
Emily
17.
Russell.
Emily Russell. Last name started with R. I was way off. Emily Russell. Poor little Emily Russell, who, by the way, works 70 hours a week.
70.
At her Chipotle job, where she has moved up in the fast food chain. She started at, I think, McDonald's or Burger King, and then went to Chipotle, and then was like, I could really see a future for myself here. She made it to assistant manager. She's like dealing with a shift where, like, you've seen how it is. There's not enough people. Anywhere I go, there are not enough people working. I'm like, what? I don't understand.
I do. I feel like I learned from that article that,
Okay.
Sarah and I talk about this all the time, about the challenge, that like all the cast members fight with each other and they're in a jar, they're bees, and the person shaking the jar of bees is actually the problem, which in our case is MTV and Buna Murray. But in this case, really is Chipotle, the execs
Totally.
that understaff,
Yep.
expect too much of their managers and their employees.
And are shortchanging people with the servings.
They're shortchanging people. They're cutting corners. They don't care if you have to wait a long time. And like then we end up throwing food on each other.
Yeah.
And then all those rich fat cats, they're fine.
Totally.
That's how I felt after this.
Yeah. Because the article did give good background on both victim and perpetrator.
Yeah.
And who's still a perpetrator.
Like you wouldn't want to trade lives with either one is
right.
The takeaway of it.
Right. Who's working, they're both like
But
driving
one's nice
for,
and one's shitty.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And
But
I
don't
think
you
one
agree,
maybe
though,
has
that,
a little like more privilege and is a little bit of, I could tell by how the judge was when he sentenced her. So the judge used a quote. He said, like, this isn't the Real Housewives of whatever the
Parma.
name of, Parma. And as if to say, like, you are like a Real Housewives lady. And so I would imagine she looks the part or acts the part in order for him to comment. You wouldn't comment that to, like, a lot of other people.
Yeah, she's clearly like a Karen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the thing, so when we first read this story, I think I remember being like, yeah, I love this. Like, let her learn that lesson. And you said, I don't think this is going to work in the way that they want it to or that they intend it to. And she was sentenced to 90 days in jail and then was given, the judge offered her a reduced sentence. They would suspend 60 days if she worked those 60 days in a fast food establishment. And this is the part where I get annoyed. Only had to work 20 hours a week. I'm sorry. You can't work less time than I spend on fucking Instagram.
For real.
For fucking real.
I don't know the logic there.
I don't either. When the woman who you assaulted worked 70 hours, it's not even minimum. This has got to be something. It had to be something like that way she's under full-time employment status so that he's not requiring the employer to pay out insurance. I don't fucking know. It's got to be some bullshit like that. But what ends up happening is her sentence is reduced to just 2 days in jail. And then these
60 days of 20 hours per week in a fast food place.
Yeah. And that took her a while to get that job. Nobody wanted to hire her. Makes sense. And finally got a job at a Burger King.
But the article makes clear that she had already worked in fast food.
Yeah.
She had worked at, I think, also a Dollar General. She'd done, third-party delivery.
Yeah. She worked in service.
Yeah, she's been grinding. I mean,
Right.
This isn't some, like, hoity-toity.
Right. I do not think that this, and it didn't work. It didn't, she said in the article, and when interviewed, that the 2 days in jail were way worse.
She sure did. She was, like, psyched out of her mind that she got that punishment.
She's like, great, I'll take this over 2 days in jail. And
don't you think it's, like, in part, oh, wait, I should talk about how beautiful we look right now wearing our Thrive makeup.
We'll definitely talk about that.
Why do I keep forget to do my job?
Because we get caught up in conversation.
Sorry.
I'm excited to talk about Thrive, though, because I was happy to give it to my friend Jessie for her birthday because I'm like, listen, if you're not going to just take my word for it,
Yeah.
let me just do you a favor and set you up
That's
with
so
the
fun.
easiest makeup and the long, like,
Aw.
I can't think of anything better too for a teacher who's like, you don't want to be like adjusting your makeup or look, you need something that's going to last all day, not have like raccoon eyes or smudging if you're like running around with the kids and stuff. And
That's
then
right.
it need a real fast, easy routine in the morning. And so I got her those
The Empower
sticks.
Matte Precision lipstick crayon.
No, the
Oh, you
eyeshadow
got her the
sticks.
brightener?
Yeah,
Yes,
that
those
I
are great.
love those because
Brilliant eye
if you have
brightener.
a darker shade and there's a dark one and a light one, Stella I think is the name of the light one that I love, and you just do those two colors, whole eye, boom, done.
And then with the liquid lash extensions.
Yes, and I got
mascara.
obviously the liquid lash extension mascara. 'Cause
She is
that's
going to
what,
look
Yeah.
like $1 million.
I know. So
And she deserves it.
Yeah.
And everybody does because it's really nice and empowering and fun to feel your best. And I love that they donate to communities and causes that we love. And it's a company that we feel really great supporting for that reason. But if I'm honest, it's really because the products are freaking great.
right.
Refresh your everyday look with Thrive Cosmetics, beauty that gives back. Right now, you can get an exclusive 10% off your first order at thrivecosmetics.com/braincandy. That's Thrive Cosmetics, CAUSEMETICS.com/braincandy for 10% off your first order. I have not had any products that I'm not happy with. They're all amazing. My whole bag
Totally.
is turquoise now because that's their color. It's amazing.
Same.
Okay, but Sarah,
Yes.
do you know how like sometimes on like like YouTube or Instagram there'll be these viral videos of like judges who
Yeah.
engage the defendant? Yeah, the defendant and hear their story in greater context and then realize like, oh, it's not that bad and so I should slap on the wrist or like let them go because
Yeah.
they were really nice and they just got a bad deal. And
Yeah.
I feel like the judges are kind of into this new thing of like going viral for being sweet.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
what
fine
this
with that.
seemed
But
like.
this feels like he's trying to. This feels close, more like the.
Oh, like white privilege or something.
Yes, it definitely does. It feels like
Mm-hmm.
white privilege, and like in my notes, I wrote white lady equals white lady punishment because this feels like they just gave her white lady punishment and then disguised it as like,
Yeah.
we're teaching you a lesson. It feels the same as the punishment for the parents in New Jersey who yell at the umpires, how they have to become the umpires. It feels more like that. This feels like I think that they are not taking the fact that it was assault seriously enough.
Yeah.
I think that this seems like appropriate punishment if she threw that burrito bowl against the wall or against the counter. But the fact that she threw it at a person's face, a hot bowl at a person's face, to me is violent. And now it crosses into like you needed more punishment from that. And there was something else in the article about it was when when Rosemary was working at the fast food counter at Burger King, somebody got upset about, I think it was like mozzarella sticks. And they
were driving through the drive-through and they wanted 7 packets of marinara with the cheese sticks. Yeah.
Yes. And she said, she said
it if I were running the show, I would
Yes.
just say, here you go. Here's your marinara.
Yes. She said, here's your 8 fucking sauces. Have a nice day. So she said, I know that the customer is always right. Whether they're wrong or right, give them what they want. That burger ain't costing you shit. It ain't costing that company shit. That's what she said. So then I thought about how Emily, the worker,
Yeah.
responded.
Right.
And how she showed up to work that
She was
next
going
week.
by the book.
She was so by the book that what I feel like this is a privilege of maybe like what you feel you're entitled to, or maybe what you came from, or having like a some sort of safety net. It feels like no matter what, our Rosemary, throw the Chipotle bowl lady, had this sense of entitlement or privilege, whatever it was, to be able to say, I can say whatever I want, even to the man. I can stick it to the man and give a middle finger up to the company.
But I think that's what I'm saying, though, is that I think the woman that threw the bowl was mad at Emily because Emily was on the side of the execs saying you have to give her this much chicken, blah, blah, blah. And so like when the privileged white lady was not getting through to this other person and getting what she wanted, she's really mad at the person that has the rule.
Yeah.
But she's throwing it at the person enforcing the rule.
Right. And not taking, and so that's why it's a total waste and didn't teach any empathy.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't have any empathy and understanding of the worker's position in that Emily
And why
has to
someone
follow.
would go by the book.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what's missing, is the understanding. She should have shadowed Emily for the week.
Yeah.
And been like, this is where her fears are. This is what she's holding onto this job for, and why it matters, and why she's following all the rules, because she's scared to lose her job to somebody else who will follow all the rules, whatever. You know, when Karen can be like, fuck you, I'll work somewhere else.
Yeah.
Because she maybe can, because she maybe has the education or whatever.
But when you finish the article, the end of it, you just feel like workers, including the woman that threw the bowl, because she's also like one of these like hourly worker types, are getting screwed and squeezed and expected to, because the Chipotle worker ended up quitting and going to become a nurse's aide.
Yes.
Making $15 an hour.
Could you imagine? Now you're a nurse's aide where you're like, talk about customer service.
Talk about it.
And the worst.
You are bathing
Yep.
people that are sick and old for $15 an hour. And that is what we're paying people to take care of our elderly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
the people who deserve the most empathy, and
it's all messed up.
it is really messed up.
And
I
all
thought
these
that
people-
article
Yes.
really highlighted so much that was wrong. And
I'm so glad you mentioned it, because it's like, it's not just about the punitive like judicial system and whether these sort of creative punishments work. It's about class and economy and like the distribution of wealth and all sorts of things.
absolutely.
And just like that we're all like on edge and can blow our top.
That was what I was thinking and was going to ask. Is this like, we've removed so much human contact? Is this the inevitable result? That could this be something that has emerged from us not having those face-to-face interactions as frequently, where we learn the rules of engagement, and we don't get that practice anymore of how to talk to somebody, of how to respond, even how to say, I can see the panic that goes over people's faces when they have to talk to the waiter about something that's incorrect or whatever it may be. There are nice ways to do that. There are ways that you can, Susie, you're a champion of this. There are, I think you and I are both good at delivering tough information in a kind and gentle way.
Yeah. And
you don't get like that just from nothing. You have to practice it. You have to learn and correct. And, I think we got great experience being on reality television for learning like, okay, there's an art to how to deliver information or whatever. And so I think this it's so much stuff. It's like the places that we used to go to practice these things. Here's my list. Grocery store, checkout, bank, when you deposit a check or cash a check, something like that. Post office, exactly. Every single one of the things that we would put on that list, we've automated. We've put
right
onto
and then
a
the
screen.
Ones that aren't automated so much, like church, people are just dropping out of for other reasons. And so the community and third spaces are just like almost gone.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what is actually almost gone, and that's my vision. And
Suze, mine is changing too.
Sarah,
I have to go get them checked. I can't. It was like overnight.
It's overnight.
I swear to fucking God, last week I woke up. I almost want to cry right now. Last week I woke up and I was like, it was after we had that conversation where we talked about macular degeneration. You were like, Sarah, are you taking meds for it? And I was like, no, but I should start. And then I'm like, why does it look like my eyes are fuzzy?
Yes.
Susie.
Sarah, it was overnight for me as well.
So now I will be so excited. Tell me about our vision sponsor that I need. What's the code?
Well, you need, and we all need, Pair Eyewear because, listen, you might think, oh, no, not me. It's not coming for me. No. It's coming for you.
Oh, it's coming.
And it sucks. But what takes the sting off is Pair Eyewear, where you can do a digital try-on through your computer or whatever and see what looks good on you, upload your prescription. They have these adorable themes and colors that you can get in the magnetic pop-on ones that you have like your regular frames, and then you get the toppers. Yes. They have Mickey and Friends. They have sunglasses, whatever. So like you don't have to get those weird transitions.
Oh, right.
You can just have your glasses and then pop on your magnetic sunglasses.
Love this.
Amazing stuff.
I'm imagining what ones I'm going to get. This is very fun.
Oh,
I'm thinking about this in a totally new way.
Yes. Get your base frames, get your magnetic toppers. They start at $25. So it's great. It's super fun and easy. Free standard shipping and flexible 30-day return policy. Celebrate friendship and adventure this summer with Pair Eyewear. Go to paireyewear.com and use code BCP for 15% off your first pair. And mention that Brain Candy Podcast sent you in your post-checkout survey to support us. That's Pair, P-A-I-R, eyewear.com, code BCP.
Yes. Okay. What else? That is... Do we want to talk any more about that? Empathy and...
Well, okay, so I did want to mention in my notes a couple of things that like demonstrate that this woman was not experiencing the regret and empathy that the judge thought she would.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I had a few quotes. Like this, she was saying, oh my God, let me find it.
I feel like you could just highlight all the time she said, but...
Right. Like she would be like, yeah, I did the wrong. She goes, I was absolutely wrong. Before returning to her defense. So it was like, I was absolutely wrong. But Russell, which is the worker, was lying about the food being hot. And I know that this is what the woman said, because I stalked her Facebook and saw that 2 days after the attack, she didn't say attack, but 2 days after the incident, she went to a concert. She said, I burned her face. Who goes to a concert 2 days later? I do.
I do. Who misses out on their concert because some lady threw Chipotle in your face?
Right?
That is, I say that totally different.
The fact that she was even
Delusional.
searching her on Facebook.
Right. That's crazy shit. That is, I did not learn my lesson one little bit shit.
At all. You're really?
Fucking all.
You're going to search, and then you're going to say your chicken wasn't that hot, so it's no big whoop.
And anytime, that is like gaslighting adjacent. You know, it doesn't fit the technical definite, but it's like,
right.
You know,
like they're questioning the severity of your claim.
Yeah, and it's dismissive, and it's a way to say, yeah, you shouldn't feel bad because of these reasons. No, I'm sorry. The facts of the case are you threw something at another person. You were violent towards another person.
I just can't get past the fact that it was their face too.
Yeah. I do say this as somebody who has one time that I've never thrown a punch. I've never done anything like that. But in an act of rage, I emptied out a water bottle and threw an empty water bottle, like plastic, little just plastic ones, across the room.
Oh, I remember this. Yeah.
At a former lover. And now I'm like, definitely, look at that. That was that was my most violent act I ever committed. And yeah, I have regrets.
I mean, I don't think you should, but that's fine. Do you remember though, you remember how the judge said the thing about the Real Housewives, but the article added that the judge later also said that they thought that reality TV in general was creating the impression that these sort of aggressive, violent acts are how people behave. Like the judge genuinely thinks like reality TV and the behavior on there is giving people like
I think so too.
Permission to have bad behavior.
I agree. I think it is.
Yeah.
I think it's giving
it's certainly not helping
groups. Right. I think that the same crowd who watches the movie Clueless and thinks that that's how cool girls act and imitates that would be the same crowd that would fall victim to the thinking that that's how grown women act. And it's terrible. It's really terrible because we're only showing women like that. I mean, and that's weird, it's such an inaccurate. It feels like they're taking like the last thing that we have is like female friendships.
Like civility.
They've already come for our, reproductive rights and so much other stuff. And the thing that's like, we don't make the same. We have like the wage gap and the orgasm gap, all the gaps. And the last thing we're holding on to is female friendship. And then they're like, actually, we're going to make all female portrayals of female friendships catty and like they're at each other's throat and going head to head and they're fighting over a man and blah, blah, blah. It is not like, I have never, ever in my entire friendship, never fought over a guy with never one time. That would be crazy. Mm-hmm. Could you imagine?
No.
I actually can't. Like, it's silly to even think about. Or getting in any of those kind of fights. Oh, my God.
What man would be worth that?
Right.
I can't even think of one.
You met men?
Sorry, Adam. Not even you.
Yeah.
I'm not fighting. Come on.
I'm not fighting for anybody.
Take me or leave me.
Like, yeah. So, just.
I'm so glad that person did that article, though, because.
Me too.
That sort of viral thing. I mean, it's fun to talk about and stuff, but let's actually look a little deeper. I think that's important.
Yeah.
And that's what
think
that
so, too.
article did. Yeah.
I thought it was an important article and a good point. And in a way, we're kind of skipping up the timeline on an episode of things we got wrong, because I know that the thing I got wrong was thinking that was in any way an effective punishment.
Well, it seems like it is. And I think we all like to imagine that the reason that it happened is because this woman doesn't know what it's like to be on the other side of the counter.
Right. And that's not.
But really, I mean, just if you read the article, like the way she talks is like that thing where you know that they are never going to learn. I don't actually think jail would have taught her.
No way. She's the kind of person who would have
people.
left with increased skills.
Right. Know how.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
and she's going in for more higher level crimes because now she like maybe has ideas of how to get away with it more. Like no bad news. Like,
some people just have really terrible personalities, and like from their life experiences have developed this sort of like hard shell where they do not care and they are going to do what they want to do.
Okay, here's a hot take.
Okay, I love a hot take. I'm usually the one
I don't
doling
know.
these
I don't
out.
know about shit about fuck, as they say. But it seems like, you know, we've seen that people have, and I'm making a bunch of generalizations here. This is like not everybody, but it seems like we have either this inward, what do they call it? Outward locus of control, or an inward locus of control, where we think it's either everybody else's fault or it's all our fault. The people who have the it's all our fault or it's all my fault feeling, I think they are the ones that end up in therapy. And then work through that it's all my fault thing to actually take appropriate fault, to set healthy boundaries, blah, blah, blah. The it's everybody else's fault people don't end up in therapy unless they are forced to go, or it's like they're given some kind of ultimatum. It's not maybe their own idea to go. And maybe they eventually learn, but if you have the attitude or belief of it's all everybody else's fault, and you let that, like, you keep stoking that fire, and
that's why when she was at Chipotle and she had the bowl that she thought was disgusting, she went through the line of people and said, "Is this disgusting? Would you eat this?" Because she truly believes she's right and all the Chipotle people are wrong. It's those people that want to rally in line with the other people, be like, clearly I'm right, so all these people are going to be on my side.
Oh, I love being the counter point to that.
No, we're not on your side,
absolutely
Karen.
not. Yeah.
Shut the fuck up. She's the one that ordered a bowl with chicken, cheese, sour cream, and white rice. Those were the 4 ingredients. And then she was mad that it was monochromatic.
I mean.
You got to order produce. Now we're mad about her order.
I definitely am. I'm mad about her order and her fault and everything that goes with it.
She thinks it looks gross. You ordered a gross thing.
Here's the one hope I have is that because I imagine she had children.
She did.
And has children. And I hope that they have different political views and different
I love that you're assuming
lifestyles.
What her politics are.
Oh, I am assuming politics. And I hope that child sets some really healthy boundaries
They usually do.
I know. That's
Yeah.
my one thing where I'm like, this is where this is.
The long game.
Yeah.
Yeah, her
Because
punishment
this is
will
how
come
this
later.
usually goes.
Yeah, they'll die old and alone. That's how this goes.
Yeah. Or be forced to go to therapy and then have some like aha moment down the road. And then, your next thing you know, you're organizing the float at the parade or whatever.
God willing.
God willing. That's
Good
the
work,
only thing.
Sarah.
I try to put that spin on it. Man,
This was very informative.
I mean, I only had 2 of my 4 stories that I
That's
was going
all
to share,
right.
but I'll save those for another time because I
I might
spent the
need one
majority
because
of time talking about
lost my
my own
burrito story or whatever.
Right. Yeah, I can share. Don't worry. You did.
But if anybody wants to go to Sarah's water polo matches with me, is that what they're called? Matches?
Yeah.
Match, not a game.
I mean, I'd call it either.
Really?
Yeah. A
Okay.
game. Water polo
Well,
game.
if anyone wants to go, let me know.
game.
We might coordinate. Public pools, bring them back. We need them,
Yes.
but we do not need shitty customers at Chipotle.
No, we do not. That's right.
Thanks for listening, and thanks for using all our codes. We love you so much.
Bye.
Bye, friends.